And when you're going someplace for the first time, you kind of get some ideas in reference to it. And if you were to listen to some of the conversation that is or propaganda that goes on, it would probably try to convince you that it's really not a good place to go. That we in our own minds we have a perception of Africa, which is absolutely false and incorrect. And when you go down and you look and you go into the city and you see all these incredible black people, millions of them walking around doing commerce. I mean, it was just mind blowing. The roads were nice, and we just had a fantastic time. And I'm really looking forward to Dr. Sterling and Ben McMillan kind of sharing their experience. But I would also put a point in this is that there's a lot of people that's not like us
Come on
in
now.
Africa and in Zimbabwe who are doing business and making lots and lots and lots of money. And Zimbabwe is hungry for black people and black businesses to come back and to help, but also to make money. So in this situation, we can do good and do well all at the same time. And that's really what it's all about, guys.
You know what, Larry? A lot of people don't really understand the work that's been put into even this trip actually happening. And so if you could just briefly go back, there was an MOU that was signed. There was initially a podcast that was signed when they reached out to the chamber. Can you just stair step us a little bit through how this got started and how did we get to where we're at now? So that our listening audience can have an understanding of the work that the chamber and the government of Zimbabwe have been doing just to get to this point.
Yeah, absolutely, MC. This started back in May. Uh, uh, some people may not know that there were certain embargoes that were placed on Zimbabwe, so they wasn't really open to business to America. But Biden um, relinquished those embargoes, and so they were open for business. They came over to Illinois, and they said they were looking for the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, and so they called us, maybe about 4 or 5 days ahead of time, and say, "Hey, we're going to be in Chicago. The ambassador, the honorable ambassador, is going to be there with a delegation. We would love to sit down and talk to you about Zimbabwe." I didn't know a lot about Zimbabwe. I knew that they had a lot of natural resources, over 64 different minerals from gold, diamond, zinc, lithium, whole gamut. So we got together and see, I invited you, I invited a whole host of people, Gail Newcomb, all of us came together and we sat down and we listened and we had a chance to interact. From that interaction, we decided that it was time for us to go to Zimbabwe. And after that, they said, well, look, we got a conference coming up, and Zim Expo and the private sector came, and also the Minister, Counselor of Trade came to the conference that we had in Peoria. And we had an opportunity not only to listen to their presentation, but to sign an MOU about us connecting, making real honest commitments to open the doors of Zimbabwe and for us to reconnect to Mother Africa. And after that, we decided that it was time to take the advanced trade mission. And so we went just to make sure that we had a clear understanding about the opportunities. And so we just recently came back. And from that, we will be taking in December the 1st to the 7th, the 1st to the 8th, we will be taking a trip to there. So I know we're going to take a break in just a second here, but it was awesome, man. It was awesome.
Well, you know what? I'm excited because it is all, every time I've ever heard about Africa, it's been in a negative tone. Go back to Africa, but now I'm here and come home. We got some business for you.
I
That's
love
what
it. I
I'm
love
hearing.
it.
We got some business.
Well, we about to go to break. You know what time it is. We'll be back right after this message. Listen closely. Hey, it's LaDonna Rae with the Wake Up Show Chicago. I know that you've heard of AI and are wondering how to use it in your business. If you're ready to increase your productivity without breaking the bank, discover the power of AI. So here are some tips in using AI in your business. Tip number one, create personalized customer experiences. Use AI to analyze data and deliver tailor-made recommendations that your customers will love. Tip number two, save time with automated content creation. Let AI generate blog posts, social media updates, and more, keeping your content fresh and engaging. Tip number three, boost customer service with AI-driven chatbots. Provide instant responses and support 24/7, turning visitors into loyal customers. Tip number four, make smarter decisions with predictive analytics. Forecast trends and customer behavior to stay ahead of the competition. And finally, tip number five, enhance your ad targeting. Let AI optimize your campaigns, ensuring you can reach the right audience at the right time. Well, that's all I got for you for now. And keep tuning in to the Wake Up Show Chicago each and every Saturday. I'm LaDonna Rae, your AI expert, and I'm out. And we're back. We're back. You're listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago. Now, for those of you that want to call in, make sure you dial 773-591-1690 because we're on iHeartRadio on 1690 AM in Chicago and on WVON. We are talking to Mr. Larry Ivory about his trip to Zamunda. I'm just kidding. It's Zimbabwe. I couldn't hold it. I couldn't hold it. But we also have a special guest, a couple of special guests on with us as well that are going to talk about their experience in Africa. And the first person we want to introduce is none other than the Dr. Jeffery Sterling that has been part of the chamber since forever. And every time we talk about medical supplies and getting healthcare and healthcare awareness and raising it, Dr. Sterling is on the forefront of that. Dr. Sterling, welcome to the Wake Up Show.
Morning, sir.
All right, so your experience, we're on your trip in Zimbabwe. I almost said Zamunda again, but in Zimbabwe, as far as the healthcare opportunities that you observed during your trip and the potential work along with the country with the U.S. here so that we can collaborate effectively with them in the healthcare system. Now, we have been unfortunately stained with the connotation that Africa is behind the times when it comes to a lot of things. The infrastructure is not there, the roads aren't there, the healthcare isn't there. We see all of these marketing materials that kind of deliver a less than positive view of the motherland. But by you going over there, and you shared with me that you've been going back and forth with them for 15 years or so, you've seen something totally different, and it's actually an open road to opportunity for us here in the United States. And when I say us, I mean Black Americans, because they welcome us because they want us to see the richness of what is to offer in Zimbabwe, in the African countries, and so on and so forth. Can you explain that to our audience so that they can possibly get on board with visiting Zimbabwe this December when the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce is ready to go down there?
They often
Hey,
say,
Dr. Sterling, real quick, is that the other thing I want to put a point in is the fact that there was a sense of welcome that normally when we're in America, as a rule of thumb, we were met with some degree of resistance. Not all the time, but most of the time. When we hit the ground in Zimbabwe, what was your sense that, how do you think they felt about us from your perspective? Absolutely, absolutely. MC, you were getting ready to say something?
well, you know what? Oftentimes we hear in America, Dr. Sterling was saying this is a great opportunity, and why wouldn't we want to go? And we've often heard it said, black people built this country. The U.S. was built on the backs of black people, from science to industry, all the things that were invented, all the things that were created. And if America is one of the most powerful countries in the world, can we go back to Africa and do the exact same thing? Can we take our skills, our expertise, our know-how, all the things Dr. Sterling said, and come home to Africa and build generational wealth through Africa for them, for us, a win-win situation. And I've never seen countries so welcoming to the prospects of doing business with blacks in America. And and I think that one of the issues when Larry Ivory said, we did the Zim Expo, and when we were at the Zim Expo, it was the after networking meeting where I said, I want to do business over there, but what does it actually look like? And they pulled out their phones and showed us the numbers, showed us the bank accounts, showed us how they run their businesses. And I said, oh, I need to start my mining company in Zimbabwe, because they were just that transparent and just that genuine. And so even though I did not make this delegation trip, the love and that they embraced us with, even at Zim Expo, made me feel like this is something that we can do. This is something that is tangible, it's reachable, it's executable. And hearing from Dr. Sterling and Larry Ivory about exactly what the experience was, I feel even more encouraged.
Mm-hmm. And why would
Well,
we?
one of the other things I would say too is that it is probably the only place that I know that we have a competitive advantage in the marketplace. If you go to China, you're not going to have a competitive advantage. But when you go to Africa, in Zimbabwe specifically, you have a competitive market environment for us. And that's important in business because we don't often find where people are excited to do business with Black Americans. And the chamber is all about creating opportunities, and the opportunities were abounding. I mean, it was just absolutely, just all the things that I could see with a economic background as an investment banking guy. I looked at the numbers, 15 million people. I looked at the average income, which means that the income is low. So if you decide to do business in Zimbabwe, you're not paying a real premium. All of the factors, and then all the natural resources was just, I mean, it's like if any place should be booming, it should be Zimbabwe and Mother Africa. All the natural resources, the beauty of Victoria Falls, the beauty of the people, the animals, just everything you can imagine. Now, when we go back on this trip, we are going to have a little fun. Where we're going to go to Victoria Falls, and we're also going to go on a safari. So, hey, I'll pause there and turn it back over to MC and LaDonna, and maybe get Ben McMillan back on the phone here in a moment.
And so, speaking about Ben, LaDonna, introduce our other honored guest.
Well, here to talk about economics and investments in Zimbabwe, he is the CEO of IDG Architects, 40 years of architectural experience, registered architect in 3 states. He has offices in Houston, Dallas, and Peoria, Illinois, and he's a retired adjunct professor at Prairie View and A&M University. Please join us in welcoming Mr. Ben McMillan. Hi, Ben. Welcome to the Wake Up Show Chicago.
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be here.
Awesome.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Let's get it.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
So, give us some insight on the business that needs to be done in Zimbabwe, basically focusing on the economic and investment value that increases even the opportunities for us here in the United States.
Oh, wow. I guess stepping off the plane, LaDonna, was an experience and a half for me, because as I've heard previously, there's been some misnomers about Africa and, Africa is this and Africa is that. But I mean, just stepping out, it just felt like I was at home. From an economic standpoint, I mean, the businesses are there. I mean, I would recommend Black businesses invest in Zimbabwe. We had an opportunity to meet individuals from an organization called ZETA, which stands for Zimbabwe Investment Development Agency. And that's the agency of establishing a business in Zimbabwe in terms of they promote, they facilitate, and plus they help you get your license in order to operate in Zimbabwe. So the economics and the business advantages are there right now.
All right. Well, hold that thought. We're going to go to commercial break. It's that 9:30 mark. And when we come back, I got some tough questions for you, Ben. Be
All right.
ready.
All
On the
right.
Wake Up Show Chicago. Hey, it's LaDonna Raeh with the Wake Up Show Chicago. I just want to get the attention of all the business owners out there. Are you ready to take your marketing to the next level? Discover the power of AI in transforming your business. So here are some tips that'll help you in your marketing and using AI. Tip number 1. Automated social media management. Use AI-powered tools like Hootsuite or Buffer to automate your social media posts. These platforms can schedule posts, analyze engagement, and even suggest the best times to post, helping you maintain a consistent online presence without overwhelming your time. Tip number 2, personalized customer outreach. Implement AI-driven email marketing tools like MailChimp or Constant Contact that allow you to segment your audience based on their behavior and preferences. This enables you to send personalized offers, announcements, or updates, fostering stronger relationships with your customers. Tip number 3, AI-powered financial management. Use AI tools like QuickBooks or FreshBooks to manage your finances. These tools can automate invoicing, track expenses, and even provide insights into your cash flow, making it easier to keep your business's financial health on track. I personally use Square customer service chatbots. Consider integrating an AI-powered chatbot on your website to handle customer inquiries 24/7. Tools like Zendesk or ChatFuel will assist with answering common questions, booking appointments, or guiding customers through your offerings, enhancing customer experience without needing constant manual attention. And now, tip number 5, market analysis and trend prediction. Leverage AI tools like Google Trends or IBM Watson to analyze market trends and consumer behavior specific to your industry. These insights can help you stay ahead of the competition by identifying emerging trends and adjusting your business strategy accordingly. Well, that's all I got for this week. Be sure to put your AI to work. I'm LaDonna Raeh, your AI expert, and continue listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago.
Your voice matters. Your vote is your power. This November, don't let it go to waste. Whether you're voting for the first time or the 100th, it's time to make your voice heard. Head to the local registration office or visit elections.il.gov to register today. Remember, change starts with you. Register now. Vote on Election Day and shape the future you want to see. Your vote counts. Make it count.
Brought to you by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. And we're back. Don't forget, you can call us at 773-591-1690. And Mr. Ben McMillan, I told you I was going to have some hard questions for you, but it's just one in particular.
Sure.
Those of you that are listening, you either have a business or you're having difficulty with the business, or you may feel like, wow, I can't necessarily handle my business here on the U.S. soil. Heck, in Chicago, if you will. How likely is it for a business that is struggling here to start a new business or start a business in Zimbabwe?
First of all, I think you would have to research Zimbabwe itself and understand the country, how the country operates, and the economic value of the country. My experience of just looking at it is basically all about the quality of life. And if you look at the quality of life in Zimbabwe versus the quality of life here, then there's a distinct difference. The people are welcoming, and just being there is like going to grandma's house during the summertime. They were nice. They were accepting of us of being there. And it's just real friendly, just like being at home. It's just like walking down the streets of Chicago and walking down the streets in Zimbabwe. You just feel safe.
Contrary to what we hear.
Good, contrary to what we have
Yeah,
here.
LaDonna, Yeah, and Ivana, what I would say, if you're a very small business and you're struggling, we want to make sure that people understand is that doing business international requires a degree of business savvy and understanding. And we wouldn't want people to think that it is that easy, but it is easy. But you got to really be prepared. And the chamber job is to get you prepared so that you understand. So when we go on this trade mission coming up in December the 1st to the 9th, I think I said December the 1st to the 8th the first time, but it's to the 9th. We're going to get you prepared. We're going to have meetings ahead of time in IT, technology, infrastructure, healthcare, all the major industries. And one of the things I point out, and I think Dr. Sterling, I'd asked both of our guests to basically give us a highlight of what was the thing that impressed you the most. And one of the things that came out was that they have a 97% literacy rate in Zimbabwe, which is higher than the United States, you know. So it was really amazing. So I would ask Ben and Dr. Sterling to give us your particular highlight. What impressed you the most of all the things that you saw? And then I'd ask Dr. Sterling go first, and then Ben, you to follow behind Dr. Sterling.
All right. Yeah, LaDonya, I think that's a misnomer, and I would even say, but from myself, you look on the TV and you listen to media say, well, Africa is this, Africa is that. It's not good to go and do business there. Then right now, I dispel that misnomer. I mean, business, you can do business in Africa. The people are welcoming. They want us there. I mean, it's just like you felt like you were at home. It's not like it was like a foreign type of country. And I like to say this, and we've got a project in Malawi, Africa. It's a boys and girls school that we won an international competition about 2 years ago. And it's about a $10 million project, and we just completed phase one. So I know if doing work in Malawi, you can do work in Zimbabwe as well. They are ready. They're hungry. They're itching for us to get there.
So Ben, let me ask you another question real quick.
Sure.
When you take a look at your business as an architect and you see the incredible opportunities for infrastructure being built on the vertical construction side, when you take a look at what you would pay an engineer in Zimbabwe in comparison to what you pay here, is there a competitive difference that makes you excited? Because for the first time, when I left Zimbabwe, I knew in my essence I was going to be a millionaire. For the first time in my life, I said, you always want to be there, so I hope I become a millionaire. But unless God says different, I'm going to be a millionaire because there's so much opportunity. And with the knowledge that we have, it's just unimaginable not to be able to create wealth and to do good at the same time and invest in Mother Africa. And we've got a couple of issues we'll talk about at a different time. But I'll pivot back to you, Ben.
Okay. The expertise in Zimbabwe is pretty much the same as the expertise here in the U.S., but the salaries are less. I mean, I was really surprised to know that, let's say, a junior architect in Zimbabwe was only getting paid like about $6,000 a year. Well, a junior architect in the United States will make about $45,000 a year or $50,000 a year, and it's the same talent. That was remarkable to me, So the talent is there, and be honest with you, I'm going to open an office in Zimbabwe. That's my fourth office that I'm going to start. It's going to be called IDG Zimbabwe.
Hey, Dr. Sterling, real question for you is that one of the things that in the meeting we had with the leaders of healthcare in the country, you pointed out a couple factors that was really kind of exciting. And I could tell that the ministry and the people in the healthcare industry was excited about. You talked about making Zimbabwe a healthcare tourism destination. Give us some perspective on why that resonated so much with Zimbabwe and why you think it's such a great idea. Yeah, and I would say this, and then I'm going to pivot back to LaDonna and MC, is that it was like the story of Moses, that we have been, in Pharaoh's house, and we were coming back to set our people free. The people that's going to make Africa what it needs to be, and one of the greatest economic opportunities for growth in the world is in Africa. It is us coming back home and doing what we do. There is a spiritual and economic connection that is clear to me that we must seize our opportunity to strengthen Mother Africa and strengthen ourselves all at the same time, because with money comes opportunity and influence across the board, and we must leverage those things at this time. So I'll pivot back to LaDonna and MC and let you guys take us where you want to take us, guys.
Well, with that being said, we have a call on the line. Miss Mama D, good morning. Why don't you go ahead and wake us up?
Well, good morning to you and y'all greetings. You're not talking about Ghana, because when I visited Ghana, I told them I was from Chicago, and they said, no, you are from here.
I love it.
However, when you compare Africa, a continent, with other countrymen with other countries that help their countrymen, it's not the same. So considering that, my question is, what are some of the challenges when it comes to a continent that others helping their country don't have to face?
I would say racism, pretty much for me, from being an architectural standpoint. I mean, trying to be an architect in the United States is very difficult, especially for African American, because I mean, to be honest with you, we don't get that much respect. But going to Mother Africa, I can see the respect because of the warmth and the acceptance that they gave us when we toured the city. And you're right, I was telling some of the people out there when I'm from the U.S. and the first thing they say, no, you from here, you from the mother country, you from Africa.
You know what? I would also say one of the barriers that we don't face over there is the financial barrier to enter into business. So just to give you perspective, they told me that for me to have 8 employees working for me and I'm feeding them lunch, and for the rental of my equipment that I'm going to need is going to cost me about $1,200 a month. So $1,200 US. So, the financial barriers are not there like they are in America.
Well, we're about to go to commercial break, and I'm about to book my one-way ticket to Zimbabwe. Because if I can get all of that over there, why am I here? I can do the wake up show from remotely, right? We'll be back after this commercial break. Bye bye for now. Oh, well, we'll be back. If you missed the Getting Down to Business 19th Annual Business Convention brought to you by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, well, here's your chance to pre-register for next year's 20th Anniversary Business Convention happening at the luxurious Wind Creek Casino in Homewood, Illinois, the summer of 2025. This is your chance to be a part of an unforgettable experience where industry leaders come together to connect, learn, and grow. Whether you're looking to expand your network, gain valuable insights, or showcase your business, this is the event of the year. And here's the best part. Pre-register now for just $50 at ilbcc.org, and the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce will match your $50 towards your full registration. But hurry, this offer is only available for a limited time. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity. Secure your spot today, and let's make the 20th Anniversary Business Convention the best one yet. Visit ilbcc.org to pre-register now and double your investment in your future. See you at the Wind Creek Casino, summer of 2025. Brought to you by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome back to the Wake Up Show Chicago, powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. Now, let me tell you what I need you to do, because a show would not be right if we didn't give you something actionable that you need to do. So let me tell you what you need to do. You need to go to ilbcc.org. You need to sign up for the newsletter. You need to get on our mailing list, because what's going to happen is on next week, it will be the announcement through the newsletter of when the registration form goes up. We're only taking 75 delegates, 75 business owners back with us to Africa in December. So you want to know as soon as that registration form goes online so that you can get registered. And mind you, this is really a pre-registration, because you have to be qualified. And so our team is going to pour over those registrations, and we're going to find those businesses that are qualified to go. And so you need to get on our mailing list, ilbcc.org, so that you can be notified the moment that it goes live.
And when you go to ilbcc.org, just go to the Contact Us link so that you're not looking for the word newsletter. So yeah, just go to the Contact Us link.
Hey, also, LaDonna and MC, I think we got some callers who are trying to get in. I got a couple texts say, hey, I've got something to say. So we got any callers in the bucket there?
Actually, let me just reiterate the phone number. It is 773-591-1690, just to make sure that they get into our queue before we close out in about 10 minutes. So make sure you get your calls in so that we can get your questions answered and you can be heard on the Wake Up Show Chicago.
Yeah, Vincent Gilbert, they call in. You've been texting me. We want to hear from you. Go ahead and call in. I don't know if there's a problem with connecting to the call in, but let's keep it rolling. And I would just simply want to say back to the advanced team, special thanks to those who went with us and participated and was able to see what we saw so we could come back and share with our people. Like I said, one of the things that was impressive was that when they talk about gold, diamonds, and lithium, the second largest deposit of lithium is in Zimbabwe. The second largest deposit of lithium. These are the batteries for the charging stations. When you take a look at gold, diamonds, zinc, granite, you name it, they got it, copper. And I thought maybe you had to have some major earth moving equipment to go out and find gold or diamond. And it was to my amazement, that's really not the case. So I was like blown away. What do you mean? There's gold in them there hills, and I don't have to have a D10 Caterpillar tractor in order to get those diamonds, gold, and all those other natural resources. And it's good to have all that, but I just want people to understand it is the richest place. The Congo, Zimbabwe are one of the richest places for natural resources in the world. In the world. And yet, their country sometimes is struggling. And there's a story behind that as you become more familiar with Zimbabwe, you'll understand the story of why sometimes people try to convince us not to go because they want to continue to get the opportunities and benefit and create an enormous amount of wealth. So I'll pause there and let anyone else who wants to chime in on that. But I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to getting back to Zimbabwe.
Well, wait, Larry, you rubbed the genie bottle and you said Vincent Gilbert call in, and I think we got Vincent Gilbert on the line. Good morning, Vincent Gilbert. Welcome to the Wake Up Show Chicago.
Boys, let me just say, as I've always been saying for 45 years, God thank WVON and its current leadership, Belly Span Cooper and her husband, Pierre. Good morning, Wake Up.
Good morning, Mr. Gilbert.
Good
What's
morning.
going on, Doc?
Well, I'm heartened today, especially when America is having probably the most pivotal battle for the fight for democracy. I heard Dr. Sterling talk about Zimbabwe being a young democracy. Well, compared to the United States, it is. But the dream of Robert Mugabe and the dream of Gus Savage and the dream of Conyers and the Dillons and the Shirley Chisholm was that the talent of American blacks, called Pan-Africanism, you have a very sophisticated audience, that the talents of the descendants of the Middle Passage, which was the mission statement that Ed Gardner allowed me to establish with the Gardner Initiative, that when you say the descendants of the Middle Passage, we know who we're talking about. But the dream was to have the talents of Americans, African Americans, those who were on the Golden Triangle, to be able to go back to the various countries of the continent of Africa, which is on most maps smaller, but it's actually 2 and 3 times the size of every country. That's a whole nother issue. But Gus Savage, Charlie Hayes, Dellums, a lot of great men had the dream of what I'm hearing today, that there's a possibility that that Pan-African dream is becoming a reality in Zimbabwe. I would have only one question. Zimbabwe has, for many years, been on the non-favorite trade. Now, I know that there has been some efforts in America to remove all of those barriers. My question would be, is Zimbabwe still under any national laws, international sanctions, or World Bank monetary sanctions that would prevent what you gentlemen hopefully have connected?
Well, I would say,
wait for the answer. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Vince, I would say clearly that Zimbabwe is open for business. As to all of the inside, I think we're going to be doing our homework, but we had no indications whatsoever that we could not do business at every level within Zimbabwe. I don't know if Dr. Sterling or Ben has anything they want to add to that, but it's open for business. And I have had no indication from my perspective, and we'll do more homework just to make sure, because I think it's better to be safe than sorry, but I think that it's open for business.
If that's the case, Larry, I would say this is almost historic. And thank you for leading that trade delegation, because I know that that country has a history of a thought of welcoming not only blacks from America, but from the diaspora. And so thank you for your efforts, Black Chamber of Commerce. And this is a time of change and of new world order. And one thing that we know that our expertise is needed on the mother continent. So thank you.
So, I have a question here, and this is for anybody on the panel. We're all business people. Would anybody here have a problem if somebody said, I want you to come do business in Montana? Would anybody have a problem doing business in Montana?
I would.
You would? Okay.
Yeah.
What about New York? Anybody got a problem doing business in New York?
No.
All right. So, and here's the reason that I ask that. Oftentimes we would look at things and think that they're insurmountable. How can I do business in a whole nother country? Zimbabwe is about the same size as Montana. Zimbabwe's population is about the same size as New York. Matter of fact, Zimbabwe's population is only 4 million more people than we have here in Illinois. Back to Dr. Sterling's point, this country is ready for us to do business in. It's not insurmountable. Zimbabwe is welcoming to all of us, and we really need to think of it in the manner of doing business in another state. None of us have a problem going over to Indiana, Wisconsin, down in Missouri in order to do business. This just happens to be on another continent, but it's the same size as our states that we have here, and we need to stop thinking about it being so insurmountable.
All right, we got sorry about that. Go ahead. I'm just letting you know we've got a couple of callers waiting, but go ahead, President.
No, go right ahead, LaDonna. Take the callers, please.
All right. We're going to go ahead and let them both in at the same time. We got Patricia and Zoe. Let's go ahead and wake us up on the Wake Up Show.
Good morning, Wake Up Show. I would just like to know, I want to go to the next summit that you all are having, but I haven't got my business started yet. So do we have to have a business to start over in Africa?
No, you don't. You don't have to have a business to start over Africa. There's an opportunity for people to experience Africa on all different types of levels. And you owe it to yourself to go over there and connect and then make your own determination as to what are the opportunities, So we encourage you to get connected and stay connected with us, because we're going to be looking not only in Zimbabwe, but Nigeria, all around the African continent, throughout the Black diaspora.
Great.
So make sure you go to our website, click on that, connect with us or contact us, because we're going to be sending out more information on our newsletter about exactly how to do that with the chamber. And that's ilbcc.org.
ILBC?
Yes, ma'am. ilbcc.org. It's Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, ilbcc.org.
And make sure you see the black logo. It's a logo with a bee in it, and it has like a circular motion going around in that bee to make sure that you're on the right one. There's some similar names out there, but this one is the one that's been around for almost 20 years. And speaking of keeping in touch with us, make sure you go to our Facebook group, our Facebook page, look for the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, look for the Wake Up Show Chicago. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel, which is the Wake Up Show Chicago. And if you want to call the chamber, you can dial 309-740-4430. If you call them this weekend, leave a message. They'll get back to you next business day. And we look forward to
please.
I sure can. It's 309-740-4430. We ran out of time, Larry. I'm sorry. Our callers have left the building.
Okay.
because it is that time. Thank you so much for listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago. We really want to thank our guests. We had Ben McMillan, Dr. Jeffery Sterling, and Larry Ivory. You are the best.com. We love you, Buddy Love. MC Pearson, we're out of here. LaDonna Raeh, I'm checking us out, and we're gone because VON is ready to move on. Bye-bye for now.
The talk of Chicago is 1690 WVON, Sherwin, Chicago.
Follow us across the socials at The Wake Up Show Chicago. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. It's The Wake Up Show every Saturday morning at 9, where change begins with every sunrise.